Hi, welcome to howcookingworks.com. Today we're going to cook thit bao kho or Vietnamese beef stew. Before we get started, we would like to announce that we're releasing a set of premium tracks. So basically, if you want to learn how to cook online or you want to learn how to cook more Southeast Asian dishes, click this link now to learn more. So Vietnamese beef stew is actually similar to Julia Child's beef bourguignon. Beef bourguignon's primary flavor compositions are red wine and mushrooms. But the thing is, in the Vietnamese beef stew, instead it uses Asian spices. If you look at the history of Vietnamese cuisine, there's actually a lot of French influence in it. And this dish is actually very strongly based on the French dish. But as you will see, there's a lot of spices swapped out. So with that being said, let's take a look at the ingredients. So the first thing is you need the meat. So this is a chuck roast here. This is also known as stewing meat. So in the chuck, what you want to be sure to have is you want to be sure that you have a piece that's not too fatty. So you see in this piece here, there's a little bit of fat in here. I'm going to have to trim this. You can buy this already cut, which is called stewing beef, or you can cut it yourself. I actually like to cut it myself to make sure I get the size and the leanness that I want. We use chuck because it can withstand a long cooking time, so if you simmer it for a couple hours, it's okay. Some other recipes call for using top round, but top round, it's a little difficult because you need to monitor when it's done. So the next thing is the carrots. This stew primarily can use carrots and potatoes, so we're going to use primarily carrots today. Next are onions. Actually, we're going to use one onion today. So what we're going to do is, for the beef, we're going to need to marinate it. And here's the marinade composition. So, as you know, as any Vietnamese dishes, we have fish sauce. So here is a bottle of fish sauce. We're going to use some of this. To temper fish sauce's sort of like pungency, we're going to use some sugar. So also with that, we're going to use curry powder. The Madras brand is the one that I happen to like the most. As you know, curry powder's primary composition is turmeric. Next is we're going to use some garlic, 5 cloves, going to dice it. Some ginger, going to freshly grate this. And some chili peppers. Here we're going to use 4. So the spicier you like the stew, you can use more chili peppers. So be careful how much you use. Next is we're going to grind up some cinnamon. As you notice, this is actually a different cinnamon. This is cinnamon grown in Vietnam. But if you use a regular cinnamon, that's fine. You can get the cinnamon at any of your Asian markets. So those we just stated are the ones that we're going to use to marinate the beef. But now for the stock, we're going to use water, some star anise. As you know, star anise is the ingredient used in pho. Star anise is very potent if you use too much, so we only want to use about 4 pods. The next thing to give it sort of like a cool lemony flavor throughout is we're going to use lemongrass. With lemongrass, we only use the white parts, so we're going to discard the top, and we want to bruise it to release the flavors. This is removed when it's done. This is sort of my take on it, but I like adding some tomato paste to it to give the body more intensity to it. We're going to use about 3 ounces today. Lastly, the special thing is we're going to use annatto seed oil. So these are annatto seeds here. In the annatto seeds, we're going to stir fry it with oil, and then the oil is going to turn reddish. When the oil turns reddish, we're going to discard the seeds, and we're going to put the oil into the stew. Now for some of the dipping sauces, Vietnamese like to use white pepper, salt, and lime. And one of the most important things is the basil. Here, this is actually Vietnamese basil. Vietnamese basil is a little different than Italian basil. It's a little more fragrant than Italian basil. But in terms of the texture, if you can't find Vietnamese basil, you can go ahead and use Italian basil. So with that being said, we're going to do some preparation of the chuck and combine the spices. Alright, so now we have the chuck roast. What we're going to do is we're going to cut it into 1-inch cubes. So what you want to have is you want to have a chef knife. And the only thing here to be aware of is there's these fatty pieces here, which I don't like. What you want, your ideal cut, really, doesn't have to be exactly 1 inch, but I mean, you just want to rough. So the first thing, try to make it as consistent as possible. So you see this piece here. This piece here doesn't have much fat in it. Is exactly what we're looking for. If there's a lot of fat on it, what's going to happen is fat's going to come out in your stew, and you're going to have to remove it at the end. So not to bore you, I'm going to snap my fingers, and then it's going to be done. Alrighty, it's done. Magic. So here we have our meat cut into 1-inch cubes. Next, we need to prepare all the other ingredients. Since for the interest of time, I'm going to do the same magic techniques, and alright, ingredients are prepped. So as you see here, we have ground cinnamon, sugar, and curry powder here. 2 tablespoons, and I think 2 teaspoons. Here, this is about 3 tablespoons of fish sauce. This is garlic and diced chili. This is diced onion. And this is ginger. Grated ginger with the juice in it still. So what we're going to do is, so we have this meat here. And what we want to do is we want to combine all the ingredients in. So what you want to do is marinate this mixture for at least 30 minutes. Give the meat a little bit time to seep in all the ingredients here. So as you can see, we have our salt, which is fish sauce, and then we have our sugar, the sweet, which is the sugar, and then we have things to temper it, which is like ginger, garlic, chili. Alright, so what we want to do first is we'll make the annatto seed oil. So as mentioned before, this is the annatto seed, and here's some olive oil on medium-high heat. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the seeds to it, and over medium heat, going to let it stir fry for a little bit. So what's going to happen is the seeds are going to begin to give their color to the oil. And the thing is, you don't want this to burn. So that's about it. I'm going to notice, I'm going to pour this out. And we don't want any of the seeds. Just remember that. So remember, only maybe 30 to 45 seconds. Leave it any longer, it's going to turn like a dark brownish. So that's about it for this. So as you see, whenever you see this Vietnamese beef stew, and there's always this like sort of red stuff from above it, that's what this is. So go ahead and take a look at this. This is the red seed oil. Okay, now we're ready to toss it in. Be careful, it's going to sparkle. And what we're going to do is we're going to add about 4 cups of water. I'm going to make sure some of the marinade is out of there. So in any type of beef stew, remember that you're adding, most of the time we add water. So here, we're going to heighten it up like that. Next thing is we're going to add star anise. So in star anise, remember those little pods here? You want to make sure that you put it inside of like a strainer, because what happens is star anise is going to break up during the cooking process. So we'll go ahead and just leave that there. We have this tomato paste. I'm going to take about half of it, which is about 3 ounces here. This is sort of a larger stock than usual. Next thing here, I'm going to grab the lemongrass, and the lemongrass, we just cut it and we just have the white part here. Just remember that you just want to mash it a little bit so it's broken. So if you have any type of big knife or a pestle, that would work. Next thing we want to do is we're going to add the oil. So you're just going to add right on top. It's going to give this really nice spice. Lastly but not least, carrots. So I'm just going to add some of the carrots I've had. You can add as many carrots as you want. So before that, bring it to high and then simmer. So you see everything now is in the slow cooker. When you're using our crock pot, the general rule of thumb is don't fill it to the top because everything's going to take a lot longer to cook. it's not a big deal to us because we're gonna just let this cook for a couple hours. All the flavor is gonna come out slowly, but it's gonna come out really nice. So we're gonna come back in a couple hours. So that's what it. This is Vietnamese beef stew. It's basically similar to the French stew, except a little spicier. Yeah, so bon appetit. Remember that we're on Facebook. Feel free to check us out there, and hope you enjoy and try it out.